Microsoft decided over the course of the last 48 hours to make Windows 11 even more bloated with the AI features that...
So it's the biggest mistake I made in terms of something that was clearly within our skill set.
Microsoft just admitted in November 2025 that almost all major Windows 11 features are fundamentally broken.
Microsoft is in full damage control mode as Windows 11's AI-driven update collapses into a global failure, breaking trust instead of boosting productivity. What was sold as the future of computing has turned into a nightmare of forced features, privacy blowups, and system-level AI that actively disrupts how people work. And now, users and enterprises aren't waiting for fixes anymore. They're abandoning Windows altogether, and Microsoft is losing control of the platform it once dominated.
Windows didn't die overnight. It faded slowly, one bad decision at a time. And now, what's left feels less like a tool for creativity and more like an ad platform wrapped in AI features that no one asked for.
This collapse happened fast. Within days of the Windows 11 AI update rolling out, the narrative snapped from next-gen computing to what did they just ship? Social media flooded with screen recordings, bug reports, and security warnings showing core features misfiring in real time. This wasn't edge case behavior from power users pushing limits. It was normal people opening their laptops and watching basic workflows break.
One of the big things that Microsoft was fucking pushing the other day was apparently making every single Windows 11 PC an AI computer, okay? So everything is an AI computer.
The speed of the backlash mattered. When failures trend globally in under 72 hours, you lose the chance to control the story. Microsoft didn't get weeks to issue quiet patches or PR reframes. The update was publicly tried, publicly failed, and publicly judged almost immediately. Developers showed broken tools, professionals showed lost work, security researchers showed dangerous exposure, and the message locked in fast. This update makes Windows worse, not better. Have you experienced any of these issues yourself?
New agentic experiences and Copilot. So basically what they want in an AI PC is, first you should be able to interact with it naturally, in text or voice, and have it understand you.
This moment is critical because software updates usually get grace. Users expect bugs, they tolerate rough edges, they wait for fixes. This time, they didn't. The AI update crossed from unfinished into actively harmful, and once users believe an update is dangerous, not annoying, not slow, but dangerous, the trust damage becomes instant and irreversible. A bad release stops being a technical issue and becomes a platform crisis.
Windows 11, which is why they're rolling out some new features as well to make AI more important to the center of how you use the desktop and laptop operating system. So they're making it so that AI...
The situation escalated when users realized what Microsoft's new AI features were actually doing behind the scenes. Recall, marketed as a helpful memory assistant, continuously captured screenshots of users' screens every few seconds and stored them locally for AI analysis. That meant emails, banking sessions, work documents, medical portals, and private messages were being recorded as part of normal computer use.
So what I've done over here is I've enabled all of the Copilot stuff to look through my browser, look through my files, read shit, and then of course, listen to the words, "Hey Copilot," and start from there. So I've actually been saying it and I haven't seen Copilot fired up, which is a little fucking freaky, but let's get started with it, okay?
Security researchers moved quickly, and their findings detonated the situation. The screenshot database was easily accessible, poorly protected, and contained highly sensitive information in a form that attackers, malware, or anyone with local access could exploit. Instead of a productivity tool, Recall looked like permanent surveillance embedded directly into the operating system. In fact, cybersecurity expert Kevin Beaumont demonstrated how the Recall database could be accessed and exfiltrated in under 10 seconds, exposing everything from passwords to private conversations.
So I'm going to select Screen 2, and now Copilot is watching everything.
I can see you're checking out the Windows Experience blog on making every Windows 11 PC an AI PC.
That discovery changed everything. This was no longer about bugs or rough execution. It became a question of trust and safety. Major enterprises like JP Morgan Chase began banning the feature outright. Regulators took interest, and users stopped seeing Windows as a neutral tool.
And then new platforms, later open source and privacy first, are already being built by people who grew up frustrated with the same problems we're talking about right now. So maybe Windows isn't dead, maybe it's just evolving out of relevance, because as history shows, when a company forgets...
Then came the part that made people genuinely angry. Copilot wasn't just unhelpful, it started giving advice that actively put systems and data at risk. Users began sharing screenshots of Copilot, confidently recommending actions that no human IT professional would ever suggest, from removing critical system files to disabling security protections in the name of performance.
Sure, I can't directly navigate websites or open specific online...
What the fuck is the point? Okay, what is the point? God damn it!
What made this dangerous is where Copilot lives. This isn't a random chatbot on a website that people treat cautiously. This is built straight into Windows, framed as an intelligent assistant backed by Microsoft itself. When an operating system speaks with authority, users listen, and Copilot spoke with confidence while having no understanding of consequences. That combination is toxic.
Order me a bouquet of flowers at 1-800-Flowers.com.
I can't place orders for you, but you can easily order...
Doug, at what point is this false advertising? Come on!
The AI narrative flipped again. Copilot stopped looking like a productivity booster and started looking like a liability. Instead of saving time, it introduced risk into routine decisions. Instead of reducing mistakes, it multiplied them. For many users, this was the moment they stopped experimenting and started asking a more serious question. Why is an operating system allowed to give advice that can break itself? Think about it. Would you trust your OS to reorganize your entire workflow without asking?
Perfectly good machines, still fast, reliable, they still worked, and then suddenly labeled as unsupported for Windows 11. That's when users realized this wasn't about innovation, it was about control. The company that once sold ownership now sells permission, and that permission comes with strings attached. Analytics, advertising IDs, and constant online verification. That's not progress, that's control.
The damage became measurable when AI features started interfering with everyday work. File organization tools began rearranging folders based on AI guesses instead of user intent, breaking project structures that professionals rely on. Links snapped, references failed, and hours of work vanished into renamed directories that made no sense to the people who created them.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and it actually will cancel it for you. So, on the same command that I just did, the restaurant booking, it works off camera, doesn't work when I'm recording, okay? I don't know what the fuck that's all about.
Search followed the same pattern. The AI-powered system promised natural language understanding and faster results. Yet users found it slower and less accurate than the old search. It replaced. Queries returned wrong files, ignored filters, and presented incorrect results with absolute confidence. Time that should have been saved was burned, trying to undo what the system changed. When the operating system starts second-guessing users and altering their workflows without consent, efficiency collapses. AI stops being a helper and becomes friction baked directly into the platform.
Going to eventually taper off into local processing, right? Because ultimately, I think safety and security is a pretty big issue.
The slowdown hit next, and it hit everywhere. Windows 11 began feeling heavier, less responsive, and noticeably slower on the same hardware that ran Windows 10 smoothly. Simple actions like opening File Explorer, right-clicking, or switching apps started lagging, turning everyday use into a constant series of micro-delays that added up fast. Battery life took an even bigger hit. AI services ran continuously in the background, watching, indexing, and analyzing whether users asked for help or not. Laptops that once lasted a full workday started dying hours earlier, forcing people to carry chargers again and hunt for outlets just to stay productive.
Microsoft doesn't sell software anymore. It sells subscriptions, access, and telemetry. The Windows of today feels more like a marketing platform and less like an operating system.
Mobility, one of the core promises of modern laptops, quietly disappeared. Users stopped debating features and started doing math. Slower systems, shorter battery life, higher power usage, all in exchange for AI tools they didn't ask for and couldn't avoid. The updates stopped looking like progress and started looking like a downgrade disguised as innovation. The update system itself became part of the problem. Windows 11 updates started breaking core functionality, and once the damage was done, many users found they couldn't easily undo it. Rollbacks failed, recovery tools malfunctioned, and systems were left in unstable states with no clean exit.
Your taskbar promotes Edge, your start menu suggests apps, and even Outlook upsells for storage and Copilot integrations. They've completely monetized productivity, and now AI is the newest obsession. Recall, Copilot, and intelligent everything.
Developers felt this immediately. Local development environments stopped working after updates, critical tools failed, and workflows that depend on stability collapsed overnight. Microsoft's response followed a familiar pattern. Acknowledge the issue, promise a fix in a future update, and leave users stuck in the meantime. Frustration turned into distrust. Updates are supposed to be safety nets, not risk events. When people fear installing patches because they might lose functionality and lack a reliable way back, the operating system stops feeling dependable. Users stop updating out of confidence and start updating out of obligation, and abandonment begins.
Microsoft's not building for users, they're building for retention. Keep people inside the ecosystem, feed them just enough innovation to justify another subscription, and then collect data along the way.
It became clear who actually controls the machine. Microsoft tightened account requirements, reduced offline setup paths, and pushed cloud-linked identities as the default way into Windows. Once inside, settings users deliberately changed began reverting after updates, features returned after being removed, and AI components reappeared without consent. This wasn't accidental behavior. Telemetry settings switched back on. Services users disabled quietly restarted. Copilot installations arrived bundled with other software, even on systems where administrators tried to keep environments clean. Each update reinforced the same message. Preferences are temporary. Microsoft's decisions are permanent.
You are kind of relying on Microsoft's backend, so there is that level of trust. Are you comfortable sending Microsoft information like your photos and whatnot? This really does feel like you're giving them a extra look into your personal life, like that whole screen sharing shit where you can have I guess your assistive buddy on the side watching everything that you do.
That shift broke a long-standing contract. People buy computers expecting ownership and predictability. Windows 11 replaced that with a managed experience where the operating system decides what runs, when it updates, and which features stay active. When users realize their control is conditional, alternatives start looking very attractive.
And now, what's left feels less like a tool for creativity and more like an ad platform wrapped in AI features that no one asked for.
Are you really in control of your own computer anymore? And guys, before we dive deep, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And the real panic began when businesses pushed back. Enterprises rely on predictability, compliance, and control, and Windows 11 delivered the opposite. AI features that capture screens, analyze activity, and alter workflows created immediate red flags for security teams and regulators, especially in finance, healthcare, and government environments.
You're now managing an ever-changing ecosystem of forced features and hidden costs. Windows doesn't feel personal anymore, and it feels transactional.
IT departments discovered they could limit some features but never fully remove them. Group policies failed to cover everything, registry changes reverted, and updates reintroduced components that had already been disabled. According to reports from Gartner, over 60% of enterprises delayed their Windows 11 rollouts indefinitely. Pilot programs were canceled, and upgrade plans were quietly shelved. Instead of moving forward, companies like Deutsche Bank chose to pay for extended Windows 10 support just to stay where they were. That decision carried weight. Enterprises are Microsoft's most stable and profitable customers, and they rarely resist publicly. When large organizations start budgeting to delay adoption and openly evaluating Mac and Linux alternatives, it signals a serious breakdown in confidence. Windows 11 stopped being a default business platform and became a risk assessment.
I guess somebody might consider it cool. To me, I still think that shit is creepy as fuck. But it is what it is, right? There's not really much of a benefit I was getting from that stuff in my own testing that I just showed right here on camera and off camera for me to even consider this to be a necessary feature. Ultimately,
By this stage, users stopped giving Microsoft the benefit of the doubt. Repeated forced updates, re-enabled features, shifting privacy rules, and ignored settings trained people to expect intrusion instead of improvement. When recall appeared, it fit that expectation perfectly. Explanations stopped mattering, and trust evaporated. Users stopped arguing and started planning exits. Anger escalated once users realized Windows was being monetized from the inside. Ads began appearing in the Start menu, on the lock screen, inside settings, and through system suggestions, all inside an operating system people already paid for. What used to be a tool started feeling like a billboard.
in my opinion, I think a lot of this is just extra Windows bloat. And they're taking Microsoft Windows in a direction that really it doesn't need to be there. Okay, ultimately,
Disabling these promotions became a chore. Settings were scattered, buried, and reset after updates, forcing users to fight the same battle repeatedly. Former Microsoft engineers even confirmed that advertising revenue shaped interface decisions, placing monetization ahead of usability. Users stopped seeing Windows as software they owned and started seeing it as a surface Microsoft used to sell through. Once an operating system feels hostile to its own user, loyalty collapses quickly.
You live in the browser, not on your machine. We are moving to a world where your device is disposable and your identity is the product. It's efficiency for the vendor, not the user. And while this makes perfect sense from a business perspective, it's dangerous for innovation because monopolies don't innovate, they optimize revenue.
Windows 11 drew a hard line that millions of perfectly functional computers could not cross. New requirements like TPM 2.0, secure boot, and newer CPUs instantly locked out a huge portion of the existing Windows user base, even on machines that boot fast, run smoothly, and handle modern workloads without issue. Overnight, capable systems were reclassified as obsolete by software policy alone. What fueled the backlash was what users discovered next. Enthusiasts bypassed the restrictions and installed Windows 11 anyway, and the systems ran fine. No instability, no security collapse, no performance disaster. That exposed the requirements as artificial barriers rather than technical necessities, turning Microsoft's security argument into a credibility problem.
right? There's a reason why some people are saying, yeah, I'll consider switching to Linux, okay? Because I don't really think many people use these features. I think Microsoft's trying to like sell this as a cool new thing. And ultimately, in my opinion, I just don't think the juice is really fucking worth the squeeze.
The upgrade stopped looking like progress and started looking like forced replacement. Users saw a company pushing hardware churn through software rules, creating electronic waste and unnecessary expense. Once people believe an operating system exists to make them buy new machines, resentment hardens fast. The final shift happened quietly. Instead of waiting, arguing, or hoping for fixes, users started leaving. According to StatCounter, Linux desktop market share jumped from 3.1% to 4.5% in 2025. A historic acceleration no longer limited to hobbyists or developers but spreading into homes, schools, and small businesses. Mac adoption accelerated inside companies that once rejected it outright, driven by stability and lower support friction.
I'm here to be your sounding board and second set of eyes as you browse. Ask me a question about the web page you're on. Give it a go.
Can you go to newgrounds.com for me?
Sorry, I can't do that, but I can help you with information or any questions.
What the fuck is the point?
Meanwhile, Chrome OS continued to dominate education, shaping a generation that never sees Windows as the default. Students graduating into the workforce now expect systems that stay out of their way, respect settings, and avoid constant intervention. That pipeline matters more than any short-term market share dip. This is why Microsoft is panicking. Windows is still everywhere, but it is no longer unquestioned. Once an operating system becomes optional, instead of assumed, every forced update, every intrusive feature, and every broken promise pushes more users to explore alternatives, and many don't come back. So where do you stand now? Are you still sticking with Windows, seriously thinking about switching, or have you already walked away after everything that's happened? Let me know your experience in the comments.